Thank you, Alec. Thank you, Rachel. Next we have Chris McCabe and Amy Cutler.
What to say once, as only once will be enough, at least to document it's happening, an aspect trace. The remains are lost. The thing we know survives has disappeared. From there we found her. In foundering is the beginning of experience.
Aspic? You speak, we all speak. Again the pigeons go round the square as if to document its happening. At the compass of its outer orbital we found her. How can one keep faith with a city that's gone missing?
There might be a Euston of the mind I left somewhere beyond the Watford Gap. Misdirection came from meeting the person who once did my job. Do I age too? I took the tube on a single ticket, knowing I'd have to walk back along Southampton Row in the rain. At least it wouldn't be dark then. At least I was lost in the north.
The least darkness descends in the south of the city. I want to clear my head. If I were to recall only once living there, then perhaps everything would amount to knowing who I was in love with then and whom I was sick to death over. I remember at the time the most tedious streets led back to the square again.
This other city I dream about is the one I'd forgotten. I remembered now that Paris had been built alongside the Neckinger River, or was it the M62? The paths along the Montmartre had grown the most amazing outlets. I arrived at the hospital I was born in, Mill Road, and the doors were easier to find. Now it had been knocked down. How does anyone face a day at a desk after this?
Or was that your desk, your hospital, your Neckinger River? My memory is your executioner. If I've died to you and am dead, then who am I? Remind me which of us is speaking as the urban nightmare and which the homesick child.
I can't believe you've never been there, he said, a ripped graphic in Polish in his hand. My first time, only it wasn't. I'd walked out to the pagoda the day before in the snow and saw the cathedral he was trying to describe to me evened with white. Towns would come to me like acetone collages penciled between the edges. I could picture it, or trying, as a man with a sky hook in his fist gives us all directions to Manchester Airport.
I thought it never snowed like this in Manchester. I seem to remember giving a poetry reading here once. Do you remember where that bar used to be? The snow across the telegraph wires is always my favourite part of snowing. How unfaithful I've been depends on how much we hated this city, or loved it, or wanted to fall down drunk in it forever.
Tracks moved quicker south of anywhere. There was that account of the man who was so drunk he had to sit down in first class. When the guard asked him to move, the man was shocked, pointing to the audience of empty seats. There are loads of seats in standard class, the guard said. The man protested, declaring he would stand for the rest of the journey in the vestibule. Only he was too drunk to say vestibule. I may have imagined this. I don't even know what a vestibule is.
Well, we're in the subway system going somewhere. I forget where. I'm on the phone, remonstrating over some issue with a poem I'm trying to add a Jefferson Starship reference to. We built this city on rock and rolling depths. Love means never having to say, this city at dusk feels slight with the weight of its own pomposity, as if the affectation of slightness at a celebrated river landmark is itself a mark of the smoggy distraction that stems from its citizens' eagerness to serve it. I wonder when I stop living here, the end of affection.
Everything creaks. Attention train crew, passenger alarm activated. When I thought of a house back then, I thought of it as a fixture, a place forever, immovable. Then Robin, do you remember him? Or was it her, had that party? We stood in the kitchen with a bleenie in one hand and a bud in the other, as she or he told us that the house we were in was standing on stilts and moving all the time. It was built after the marsh had been drained. Since when the fuck did Salford have a marsh, you asked? Robin said there are many things about Salford you don't know.
For instance, Mill Road is actually an entirely different Mill Road, and I hate to tell you, but you weren't born there after all. There's one song about the city by the bay. One song about the city that never sleeps, and one about the city that rocks. It's the same song, of course, but they just changed those words. Capitalising on the ambiguity, several radio stations add descriptions of their own local areas when they broadcast the song.
That explains more than I've forgotten. You mean the Mill Road, the warehouse? Now I know this, I'll never eat gruel again. I only trust cities whose radio stations are positioned at least 300 feet in the sky. How else can a DJ know what's going on? Manchester has one called St John's, though it's not as good as Liverpool's Trafford Centre. Up there, a DJ is like a really annoying, minuscule god. If they jumped from the window, I'd catch one in a net and have the best summer since I painted my pogo stick yellow.
Don't you come round here crying because you spent that summer in the wrong city? Don't you come round here crying because there is no right city? Don't you come around here crying because urban concatenation is an irresistible force of never-welded isolation? Let's hear it for Manchester. Every time I get these pangs, I remember why I left you in the first place. Thanks, Manchester. You've been great.
I thought this was Ormskirk. We left that coracle by the shore, near the Lidl, then ran like a pair of Jesuits with their first baguette. I've just remembered the bar you mean, the one off Oxford Road. The hoary godmother. I miss afternoons in pubs, the caring fumes of hops over a cryptic crossword, the racing on the screen above, free sandwiches. What I mean is I look forward to afternoons in pubs. I've never spent an afternoon in a pub in my life. Do they really do free sandwiches? Or is that a myth? Like a milkman?
The last time I spent an afternoon in a pub, I was a year younger. The racing on the screen above. One of the preconditions of this city is that I'm drunk or in love with you, or that I'm misdirected. City life. I don't like it. You don't like it. He doesn't like it. We don't like it. The front carriage of the DLR is a mad gesture, a solemn lights gesture, divided between love and resentment.
I was hoping you'd mention that. Since Ormskirk became the capital of England, I've not been able to keep up with the viral spread of folklore. That myth that the inauguration of poets after their first pamphlet is published is to be strapped naked to the front of the DLR while the editor toots the whistle from above. Can it be true? What are we doing here on a Saturday night anyway? When did we get to Manchester?
What are we doing here on any night anyway? What have we ever been doing here? Every time I get these pangs, I remember that I hate living anywhere. I can't remember a place I've lived where I didn't feel sick to death. I can't remember a place I've lived that didn't look exactly like this.
Why don't we fuck everything and go on tour?
Why don't we tour everything and go and fuck?
Why don't we update Rambo and hot desk around Europe?
Why don't we sit at this desk and feel trapped for the rest of our lives?
Why don't we find an underground river and fill it with Tizer?
Why don't you find an underground river and fill it with Tizer?
Why don't you go to China and crowdfund for Ormskirk?
Because when I travel without direction, I really hate how the malicious winds of the subway blow about my reactionless body.
Because the exhaust of the Ocado van can be heard from Stonehenge.
Because this city and I are two peas in a podcast about how urban repentance hurts badly when our economic enemies are making powerful weapons in the playgrounds of the super rich.
And there's nothing worse than a Cambridge Marxist with his tongue on a student's fever.
Sometimes I feel like no Marxist in this city is ever going to have sex in a cemetery again. Why don't we stop living altogether? I don't like life.
Sometimes Marx, and fucking expensive.
Marks and Spencer, back to the hellmouth of my hometown again. What did I care about, apart from afternoons in the pub? The remains are lost, and Anthony Burgess is spinning in his grave. What to say once as only once will be enough. Let's make that the safe word, so we head back to the Travelodge before getting totally smashed.
Thank you.